A soft breeze rustled the curtains as little Amina, a bright-eyed 7-year-old from Morocco, settled into her favorite reading nook. Her fingers traced the faded cover of a storybook she had borrowed from the town library. Every evening, as the pink dusk deepened into blue, she transformed ordinary moments into grand adventures simply by opening a book. Tonight, she had a special plan. She would share the magic of stories with her younger brother, Youssef, who rarely sat still long enough to listen. "Ready, Youssef?" Amina whispered, tucking him close under a quilt patterned with flying carpets and desert stars. His curly head bobbed eagerly. As the camera in your mind starts rolling, imagine the gentle glow of lantern light dancing across their faces. Now, take a deep breath in a YouTube storyteller's world. You're not just reading words. You're inviting listeners into a realm where imagination blooms. Our tale begins on the sun-drenched rooftops of Marrakesh, where Amina discovered an ancient map tucked inside a book titled The Whispering Sands. She tapped the yellowed parchment. "Look, Youssef," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "It's leading to a secret library hidden beneath the dunes." His eyes widened. "A secret library? Really?" "Yes," Amina replied, voice low and earnest. "Legend says this library holds stories that come to life when read aloud with an open heart." She paused, letting the moment stretch. This is the secret sauce of Read Aloud stories. Slow down, breathe, and let listeners feel the anticipation crackle like firelight. With that, Amina and Youssef embarked on their journey. Picture them stepping off narrow alleyways into the endless desert, the horizon smudged golden by sun and sand. The camera pans slowly, capturing their small footprints trailing behind. As they walked, Amina recited lines from The Whispering Sands, her voice rising and falling like gentle waves. In the heart of the dunes, a library sleeps, waiting for curious souls. Each word echoed across the dunes, forming ripples of possibility. The desert seemed alive. A soft hiss whispered through the sands, as if the dunes themselves were leaning in to listen. "Do you hear that?" Youssef asked, clutching his sister's hand. Amina nodded, her pulse quickening. Now is the moment to lean into descriptive, sensory storytelling. Describe the golden grains that glittered like stars beneath 1,000 lanterns, the distant cry of a desert fox, the warmth of sand beneath their sandals. As night fell, they followed the map's markings to a crescent-shaped dune. Under the silver moon, they discovered a narrow entrance carved into the sand. Amina took a deep breath, turned to Youssef, and said, "This is it, the doorway to the secret library." She climbed inside, torch in hand, with Youssef close behind. Inside, the cavern walls were lined with towering shelves stacked high with dusty tomes. A hush permeated the air. Amina whispered, "Remember, stories here come alive only when read aloud with kindness and courage." She selected a thick, leather-bound volume titled The Lion's Promise. The pages crackled as she opened it. "Once upon a time," she began, her voice soft but clear, "a young lion cub named Kamal felt too small to roar." At her first words, a soft glow enveloped the pages. Tiny motes of light drifted upward, coalescing into the shape of a golden lion cub. Youssef gasped as Kamal blinked and padded forward. "Now lean in. described Kamal's expressive eyes, the velvet softness of his mane, his tentative steps as he tested his voice. Amina's tone shifted, becoming playful. Kamal tried a whisper roar, she read, then leaned forward to murmur roar. The little cub's attempt was a faint, tremulous purr. Yet with each retelling, each rise and fall of Amina's voice, Kamal's roar grew stronger, echoing off the cavern walls. This is the alchemy of read-aloud stories. By infusing emotion, pacing, and gesture, a narrator breathes life into words. Listeners lean closer, hearts racing with hope. Yusef's eyes shone as he urged, "Read more, Amina." She did. As Kamal's confidence bloomed, the cub's roar thundered through the cavern. The shelves shimmered, and books fluttered their pages like butterflies. Amina smiled and whispered, "See what happens when you believe in yourself?" They spent what felt like hours among the living stories, an eagle learning to soar above the Atlas Mountains, a desert flower that bloomed only under moonlight, a caravan of traders whose kindness changed the fate of a thirsty village. Each tale unfolded magically, one breath at a time, one read-aloud moment after another. Finally, their torch sputtered low. Amina closed the last book, and the characters dissolved gently into warm motes of light, drifting upward to rest among the cavern's ceiling. Yusef yawned, his eyelids heavy with wonder. As they retraced their footsteps to the surface, Dawn's rosy fingers crept across the dunes. Amina tucked the ancient map back into the whispering sands, sealing the cavern behind them. She looked at Yusef and said softly, "Stories have power. They teach us bravery, kindness, and the magic that lives within us all." Back home, under the familiar tapestry of rooftops, Amina and Yusef cuddled close once more. She whispered, "Tomorrow night, we'll return for more adventures. But tonight, let's share what we learned. Every time you read aloud, you awaken worlds." Pause and let that sink in. For anyone listening or watching, the call to action is clear. Pick up a story, share it with a child, a friend, or even yourself. Bring characters to life with your voice. Ignite imagination. Cultivate courage. As the camera zooms out, imagine Amina and Yusef drifting into sleep, a soft glow of book pages illuminating their dreams. Then, to you, yes, you with this script, remember that every read-aloud session is a journey. You don't need a secret library beneath the dunes to find magic. It's in your voice, your heart, and the pages you hold. The next evening, as the sun dipped behind the Atlas foothills, Amina and Yusef returned to their rooftop nook. The sky was painted in ribbons of coral and lavender. Yusef nestled into Amina's lap, clutching a steaming cup of mint tea, his eyes still glowing from the night before. "What story will we bring to life tonight?" he asked, his voice hushed with anticipation. Amina smiled and lifted the ancient map once more. "Tonight," she said, "we follow the path to the moonlit oasis, where stories of friendship await." She unrolled the map under the lantern's soft light. The dotted line curved past an emerald palm grove to a turquoise lagoon that shimmered under a crescent moon. Yusef traced the line with wonder. "Let's go," he exclaimed, leaning in, ready to step beyond the real world again. Imagine for your viewers the slow zoom into that map, the gentle unspooling of destiny. This is your cue. Invite them to lean close, to let curiosity tingle like fireflies on a summer night. With the storybook in hand, this time titled Friends of the Moonlit Oasis, Amina began reading. Her voice skimmed over the words like a pebble on water. In a land where date palms brushed the sky, two unlikely friends set out under a silver moon. Zara the desert fox, with ears sharp as whispers, and Malik the gentle tortoise, whose shell glittered like polished amber. As she spoke, paint your scene for the audience. The fox's russet fur glowing in starlight, the tortoise's slow, deliberate steps echoing patience. You don't need special effects, your words are the magic. Zara darted through the palms, her eyes alight with mischief. Malik followed more slowly, each heavy footstep a drumbeat of determination. They formed a pact that night to find the oasis of echoes, where every kind word shared would blossom into a flower. Pause here in your narration. Invite viewers to breathe in the possibility. Ask them, what if every time you spoke kindly, a blossom unfurled somewhere in the world? Amina's voice softened. They traveled through whispering reeds and over sandy hills until they arrived at a blue-green pool rimmed with silver petals. At the mention of silver petals, Yusuf held his breath. In your own read-alouds, you can accentuate such lines with a hushed tone, drawing listeners into the hush of wonder. Zara leaned close and whispered, "Hello," letting the word ripple across the water. Instantly, a pale bloom unfurled at the water's edge. Malik offered a gentle "thank you," and another flower opened. With each kind greeting, the oasis bloomed more brilliantly until the night glowed with living light. Kindness, Amina declared, can change worlds. She closed the book gently, letting the moment hang like starlight. For your YouTube video, this is the moment to pause the story, turn to the camera, and speak directly. When you read aloud, you don't just tell kids a tale, you plant seeds of empathy. Every gentle word can become a blossom in someone's heart. Try it tonight. Say something kind out loud and watch what grows. Yusuf nodded, his heart full. Let's share a kind word right now. Amina reached out. I'm proud of you, little brother. Yusuf grinned and replied, I'm proud of you too, Amina. The rooftop seemed to sigh with contentment. But the adventure wasn't over. The map still held secrets. Later that night, after a warming cup of mint tea and a last cuddle, Amina tucked Yusuf into bed and whispered, Tomorrow, we discover stories of courage from faraway lands. Even as he drifted to sleep, his dreams were humming with foxes, tortoises, and silver petals. The following afternoon, the Moroccan sky was crisp and clear. Amina sat by her window, pen and notebook at the ready. Before we read, she said to the camera in her mind, let's prepare. Choose your setting, a cozy chair, a soft blanket, a warm drink. Set your intention. What lesson do you want your listeners to take away? This behind-the-scenes tip reminds your viewers that every read aloud is a carefully crafted performance. That evening, under a sky sprinkled with stars, Amina and Yusuf set off again, this time to the Valley of Courage. The storybook was a slender volume marked Bravery Beyond the Dunes. Amina read, in a village nestled between towering cliffs, a young girl named Layla dreamed of becoming a falconer, an art traditionally reserved for warriors. But Layla's heart soared higher than any falcon's flight. Immediately, you can lean into dramatic pacing, slow at the beginning to build empathy, then quicken as the stakes rise. Layla practiced with an old, battered glove, and a sparrow that never quite flew. When the villagers laughed, she held her head high. At dawn, she climbed the cliffs to the eagle's perch, where legends said a golden falcon rested. She even faltered on trembling stones, but each step was a testament to her resolve. Describe for your audience how Layla's determination shimmered in her eyes, how the cliff's jagged edges carved silhouettes of defiance. As you read aloud, use pauses to let the listeners feel Layla's fear and then her triumph. When Layla finally reached the perch, the falcon swooped down, circling her head. It landed lightly on her gloved arm, as if declaring her worthy. At that moment, the sky seemed to stretch wider, the valley below humming with the promise of new beginnings. Yusuf gasped softly. Amina closed the book. "Courage isn't the absence of fear," she said, turning to the camera. "It's moving forward despite it." When you read aloud stories of bravery, you remind children and yourself that even the smallest among us can touch the sky. She leaned toward her little brother. "What are you brave enough to try?" she asked. Yusuf's eyes sparkled. "I'll try reading to my friends at school tomorrow," he whispered. You see the cycle of empowerment. Story inspires action. Action becomes story. Over the next few days, Amina and Yusuf explored tales from distant lands. They visited a Japanese garden where a koi fish learned patience, an Inuit village where a teenager discovered leadership through community, and an Amazon rainforest where a jaguar's kindness saved an orphaned monkey. Each evening, Amina selected a new story and tailored her read-aloud style to match its tone, whispering secrets, raising her voice to thunderous crescendos, and always returning to gentle, heartfelt calls to action. For your viewers, share tips alongside the tales. Vary your pitch and pace to reflect the character's emotions. Use simple props, colored scarves, small figurines to bring scenes to life. Invite questions, pause and ask, "What do you think happens next?" By weaving these pointers into your narrative, you transform passive listeners into active participants. One particularly magical night, they opened the Star Weaver's Loom, a tale set in India, where a young boy named Arjun learned to weave cosmic threads that connected people's dreams. As Amina read, delicate patterns of light flickered across the rooftop. Yusuf reached out, mesmerized. "When you read, your words can weave dreams," she said softly, closing the book. "And your listeners? They become the threads, connecting hearts across the world." This gentle metaphor is perfect for inspiring both kids and parents. As the days turned into weeks, Amina's read-aloud sessions became a nightly ritual. Neighbors paused on their balconies to listen. Friends joined in via phone calls. Even the local librarian asked if she could record one session to share with younger children who couldn't attend in person. The ripple effect was unmistakable. Simple words, spoken with love, were lighting up imaginations far beyond Amina's little rooftop. And that, dear storyteller, is the true power of read-aloud stories for kids. It's not just about reading words. It's about inviting listeners into a shared world where empathy blooms, courage grows, and connections spark like fireflies at dusk. When you present your script on YouTube, remember, set the scene with warmth and intention. Use your voice as an instrument, soft for secrets, strong for triumphs. Engage your audience, ask questions, encourage responses. Tie each tale to a universal lesson. kindness, bravery, curiosity. Always close with a call to action. Share your favorite story moment in the comments. Subscribe for more magical journeys. Hit like if you believe in the power of imagination. Tonight, as you pick up your own storybook, lean in and breathe. Let the words flow from your heart. Watch your listeners lean closer. And know that every read aloud is a seed planted in the vast garden of possibility. So wherever you are, in a cozy living room, a sunlit classroom, or your own rooftop under starry skies, let your voice carry these stories into the hearts of children everywhere. Because the world needs more storytellers, more dreamers, more voices that dare to whisper, "Once upon a time." And with that, may your journeys be endless and your stories ever bright. So take a book, speak its words with wonder, and watch as stories grow wings. Share your read aloud adventure in the comments, subscribe for more magical journeys, and hit like if you believe in the power of imagination. Until next time, happy storytelling, and may your voice always find the courage to roar.